What if I told you that one of the most violent hauntings in America didn't happen in a castle, didn't happen in an asylum, and didn't happen in a cemetery, but inside a small, ordinary house on a quiet street in Kansas? A house where scratches appeared out of thin air, where grown men were attacked by invisible hands, where something pretended to be a child only to reveal something far darker. This is not urban legend. This is not Hollywood. This is the real, documented case of the Sallie House. And once you hear what truly happened inside, you'll understand why some people say evil doesn't scream, it whispers.
The Sallie House is located at 508 North 2nd Street in Atchison, Kansas. Atchison is not a scary town. It's known for history, old Victorian homes, and being the birthplace of Amelia Earhart. The house itself is small, built in the late 1800s, one story, basement underneath. From the outside, it looks harmless. No warning signs, no boarded windows, no dark reputation you'd expect. Yet for decades, locals quietly avoided it. People didn't talk openly, but they knew. Families never stayed long. Tenants moved out suddenly. Some refused to explain why. And then in 1992, a young couple moved in, unaware they were about to become part of one of America's most disturbing hauntings.
Tony and Deborah Pickman rented the house in 1992. They were newly married. They had a newborn son. They wanted a quiet place to build a future. The rent was affordable. The neighborhood felt safe. At first, nothing seemed wrong. The house was calm, almost too calm. But soon, small things began happening. Footsteps where no one was walking, doors that didn't stay closed, cold spots that moved from room to room. Deborah noticed it first. She spent most of her time at home, alone with the baby. She felt watched, not threatened, just observed, like someone was always nearby. Late one night, Deborah heard crying. It wasn't her baby. It sounded older, like a young child, in pain. She followed the sound. It led her to the baby's room. The room was empty. The crying stopped instantly. That's when Deborah felt something shift. The air grew heavy, cold. She felt a presence so strong it made her heart race. From that night on, the crying returned again and again, always from the same room, always when she was alone. And slowly, the presence grew stronger.
Eventually, the Pickmans asked neighbors about the house. That's when they heard the story. A little girl named Sallie was said to have died there. According to local legend, Sallie suffered severe abdominal pain. A doctor was called to the house. Without anesthesia, he attempted surgery. The child screamed in agony. She died on the table. People believed her spirit never left. Deborah felt sympathy. She believed the house was haunted by a scared, confused child. So she did what many people would do. She tried to comfort it. She spoke gently. She said the name Sallie. And that was the moment everything changed.
After Deborah tried communicating, the activity escalated rapidly. Objects were thrown across rooms, lights flickered violently, doors slammed shut. But the most disturbing events were focused on Tony. Tony began waking up with scratches, deep scratches, 3 long marks across his chest and stomach. Not surface scratches, they bled. Doctors couldn't explain them. They appeared overnight and healed unusually fast. Then came the burns. Circular burn marks appeared on his skin with no source of heat. Tony began seeing shadows, tall, black figures, always watching, always just out of focus.
Tony soon realized something terrifying. Whatever was in the house was not acting like a child. It was aggressive, intelligent, targeted. The attacks focused almost entirely on him. He felt hatred, not confusion, not fear, hatred. Deborah started noticing something else. The childlike presence disappeared. In its place was something darker, something ancient. Researchers later questioned whether Sally ever existed at all. Historical records show no confirmed child death matching the legend, which led to a chilling possibility. The story of Sally was a disguise. One night, Tony fell asleep on the couch. He woke up unable to move. Something heavy pressed on his chest. He couldn't breathe. Invisible hands wrapped around his throat. Deborah watched in horror as scratches appeared on his body in real time. No one was touching him. Tony screamed. The entity released him suddenly. He was left bleeding, shaken, and convinced whatever lived in that house wanted him gone or dead. Desperate, the Pickmans called for help. Psychics, paranormal investigators, clergy. Some investigators refused to enter. Others fled within minutes. One psychic stated clearly, "This is not a human spirit." Another claimed the entity fed on emotional energy, fear, pain, stress. Prayers were said. The house reacted violently. Loud bangs, objects thrown, freezing air. Nothing worked. Finally, the Pickmans made a decision. They couldn't stay. They packed what they could and left. The moment they stepped outside, the activity stopped. Instantly, the house became silent, as if it had won. Tony and Deborah never returned, but the story didn't end there. Over the years, multiple investigators have visited the Sally house. Reports include disembodied voices, scratches, growling sounds, shadow figures, and sudden nausea and fear. Some visitors feel calm, others feel immediate hostility. The house behaves differently toward different people, which makes it even more disturbing. The Sally house forces us to ask an uncomfortable question. What if some hauntings aren't ghosts at all? What if something else exists? Something that pretends, something that manipulates, something that waits. Because if the Sally house taught us anything, it's that evil doesn't always look evil. Sometimes it cries like a child. If you want more real American hauntings, true paranormal cases, and documented horror stories, subscribe. Because some stories don't want to be forgotten. And this was the Sally house.